Chapter 65. Dustin's words took everyone by surprise. No one had expected him to be so audacious as to disregard them. "You brat. Are you even hearing yourself?" Dwayne's jaws were tightly clenched and his expression was slightly distorted from the anguish. He was a person of prestige in South City, much less a small place like Swinton. And now, this little scoundrel dared speak to him like that. How impudent. I know very well what I'm saying. You, however, do not seem to fathom the severity of the situation at hand. I am the only one who can help with your condition, Dustin spelled out coldly. You rascal. Don't go around thinking that you're some miracle worker just because you've got some medical tricks up your sleeves. You better know what's best for you before I lose my temper. Dwayne bellowed. That's right. I'll break your face if you don't cure my boss. Dwayne's bodyguard threatened. You'll break my face. I'd like to see you try. Dustin sneered. I guess this one wouldn't be afraid until death stares him in the face. The bodyguard was angered. He took a step forward and threw a punch at Dustin's face. His fist was on the target, and it came on fast. It was evident that he was a skilled fighter. Before the punch made contact with his face, Dustin grunted and gave the bodyguard such a strong slap that it sent him sprawling backward. The bodyguard did not even have the chance to make a sound as he passed out on the spot, face disfigured. Dwayne's face fell. It never occurred to him that Dustin was proficient in martial arts too. What's the matter? Natasha came strolling in at her own pace, looking haughty and carrying an air of authority. Even without knowing what was going on, she instinctively stood by Dustin. Natasha. This insolent rascal not only refused to heal me, he even beat my man up. Tell me, how do you think this should be handled? Dwayne asked with hostility. Uncle Dwayne, I believe Dustin would not have attacked your man without being provoked. That being the case, your man brought it upon himself. Natasha responded firmly. Dwayne's brows furrowed. So, you're adamant about taking his side? Of course. Natasha lifted her chin. Dustin is my friend. If you have any problem with him, you may come to me. HMPH. You're turning against me for an outsider. Have you considered how you're going to tell your parents about this? Dwayne roared. That's not something you should worry about, Uncle Dwayne. I'll deal with them myself. Natasha then continued stonily, but you, Uncle Dwayne, look like you're in serious pain. I think you'd better seek help. Don't. Wait till it gets any worse. You. Very well. Let's go. After giving him a spiteful glare, Dwayne left in a huff. Natasha's reaction was not what he expected. But considering her status, he had no intention of crossing her, so he had no choice but to walk away. Will you be in any sort of trouble for helping me out? Dustin asked. Though he was not intimidated by Dwayne, he was still grateful to Natasha. Trouble? Natasha chuckled. Well, they used to call me Black Widow. Venomous and deadly, apparently. What's this trivial matter got on me? Well, isn't that phenomenal? Dustin raised a brow. But of course. Are you interested in finding out? Finding out? How? Natasha chuckled yet again. With a sultry grin, she leaned into Dustin and whispered into his ear. Come over to my room tonight. I'll show you. And then, she pulled away, biting her lower lip. That was no mistaking it for anything but seduction. Dustin kept quiet and pretended not to hear her. His eyelid twitched. This woman was really something, seducing him in broad daylight. Meanwhile, Dwayne's chest was hurting so much that he rushed to the hospital as quickly as he could. Quick! Get a doctor! Following Dwayne's bodyguard's rude barks, a group of doctors rushed to the emergency ward to tend to him. However, after going through a series of tests, the doctors came to the astonishing conclusion that there was absolutely nothing wrong with Dwayne. He was perfectly fine. Sir, are you sure that you're experiencing pain in your chest? A doctor asked. Why the fuck would I be lying about it? Dwayne replied none too kindly. Fuck it. I'm so close to spasming from the damned pain. Why would I be lying? He thought. Well, the thing is, we are unable to diagnose the issue. Why don't you get a consultation from another hospital? You bunch of worthless morons. Dwayne left after spewing profanities. Without a moment to waste, he hurried to 2 other renowned hospitals. Still, their conclusions were the same: he was perfectly healthy and nothing was wrong with him. How could this be? Dwayne grabbed at his chest, pale-faced with sweat running down his face. The worst part was that the pain was intensifying as time went on. It was as though he would never see the end of it. He had been practicing martial arts for many, many years, and he believed himself to be tough and resilient. But the excruciating pain he was going through was simply intolerable. He thought that he might lose his mind if it carried on any longer. Sir, even the hospitals can't help. What do we do now? Seeing Dwayne in so much pain, his bodyguards were at a loss. Could it be possible that the rascal is the only one who can help me? Recalling Dustin's words, Dwayne gritted his teeth. Ultimately, he had no choice but to give in. Head to Peaceful Medical Center. Get that rascal to help. Dwayne's men dared not question his decision. They immediately sent him back to Peaceful Medical Center. This time around, they lost all the contempt and arrogance they had before. Well, if it isn't Uncle Dwayne. What's got you coming back so soon? Natasha, who had been biding her time, rose to greet him with a smile. Natasha, I acted rashly and said some rubbish earlier on. Please don't take it to heart. Can you please get Dustin to help me? Dwayne tried to put on a smile. Uncle Dwayne, there's no use telling me that. It'd be better for you to say it to Dustin. Natasha gestured at Dustin behind her. He was reading leisurely, taking no heed of the few men who had just entered. Dwayne cleared his throat before starting. Hey, Rhys, I'm really sorry. I was in such agony that I was rash with my words and offended you. Please do not mind me. I'm really sorry, I apologize. Dwayne chose to yield to him. Seeing that Dustin was ignoring him, he offered, Hey, if you help me, you can have your pick out of my collection of treasured herbs. Dustin finally lifted his head when he heard that.